Good day everyone, I am Mary J. B. Bernante and I will be tackling today the teaching and assessment of literature studies, which is we are going to focus on Philippine literature. Before that, we have here the learning objectives. By the end of the lesson, 90% of the students will be able to A. To identify the major themes and literary elements present in the wedding dance. Second, recognize the importance of preserving and understanding indigenous Filipino culture through literature. Third, demonstrate and explore the themes and symbolism in the wedding dance through a role play. And now I have here the activity, collaborative storytelling moral. So this is a selective student. So here is the instructions. First, select 8 students to create a storytelling moral. Second, the theme must relate to Philippine culture. Write down a few sentences to start the story, and this could be the setting, the introduction of a character, or an interesting event. The first person can illustrate the opening scene based on the story starter. The next person needs to build upon the existing scene and continue the story visually. Third, and lastly, encourage everyone to be creative and use their artistic skills to show what happens next. Okay, I want 8 students voluntary to create the creative storytelling moral. So I have here the criteria, the storytelling, 10%, the collaboration, 10%, the organization of the story, 10%, and creativity, 10%, and effort and use of materials, 10%, and this could be totally of 50%. After that, discuss your output. And now let's delve into the short story, The Wedding Dance by Amador Daggio. So before that, we have to delve the author. So who is Amador Daggio? Any idea? From the class, any idea? So, Amador Daggio is a writer, a poet, a teacher, and who was born on January 8, 1912 in Laoag, Ilocos Norte. And his famous work is The Wedding Dance. So, Amador Daggio was a notable Filipino writer, a poet, and a teacher who is born on January 8, 1912 in Laoag, Ilocos Norte. He is best known for his significant contributions to Philippine literature, particularly his short stories and poetry. Daggio's works often explored themes of Filipino identity, the cultural heritage, and social issues. One of his famous works in the short story is The Wedding Dance, which delves into the customs and traditions of the indigenous people in the Philippines. So, Daggio earned his degree in English from the University of the Philippines and later studied law. He became a teacher and influenced many students with his literary talent and dedication to Filipino culture. His literary career was marked by his ability to portray the complexities of Filipino life and the rich traditions of his country through his evocative and thought-provoking writing. So, Amador Daggio passed away on April 26, 1966, but his legacy continues to be celebrated in Philippine literature. And now let's continue to The Wedding Dance, the short story. It is a poignant short story that delves into the complexities of love, tradition, and societal expectations in a rural Filipino setting, set against the backdrop of the Cordillera Mountains. The story follows the lives of Awiyao and Lumnay, a couple facing the heartbreaking reality of their marriage. Awiyao desires a child and is forced to leave Lumnay, his childless wife, to marry another woman who can provide him with offspring. The narrative explores themes of sacrifice, cultural norms, and the enduring power of love amidst adversity, making it a timeless and thought-provoking tale that resonates with the readers across cultures. The Wedding Dance is one of Amador Daggio's most famous short stories. So I have here the detailed breakdown of its elements. So the summary, the story is set in a rural Filipino village in the Cordillera Mountains and revolves around the lives of Awiyaw and Lumnay, a couple who must confront the harsh realities of their marriage due to societal expectations. So I have here the characters. Awiyaw, a man deeply in love with his wife Lumnay, but compelled by cultural pressure to have a son. And we have Lumnay, Awiyaw's wife, who is unable to bear a child and is heartbroken by her husband's decision to marry another woman. So the conflict of the story. So the central conflict arises from Awiyaw's need to have a son to carry on his name, a societal expectation that forces him to leave Lumnay and marry another woman capable of giving him a child. Despite their love, Awiyaw feels pressured by his culture to have a son to carry on his name. Unfortunately, Lumnay hasn't been able to bear him a child. So, next is the symbolism. So, the decision between was turned between love and societal expectations. Awiyaw takes a difficult decision. He marries another woman in hopes of having a son. So the Lumnay's heartache. Lumnay is heartbroken by Awiyaw's second marriage. Awiyaw, thought conflicted, invites her to participate in the traditional wedding dance. So the symbolism, the wedding dance is a symbol of unity and joy, becomes a painful reminder of what Lumnay has lost. She refuses to participate and highlighting her isolation and despair. So, the symbolism in the wedding dance, it was the ceremonial dance symbolizes the unity and joy within the community. But for Lumnay, it becomes a painful reminder of her loss and isolation. Her refusal to participate underscores her despair and rejection of societal norms. So we have here the ending. The story leaves the reader with a sense of sadness and the weight of cultural traditions that can sometimes clash with personal happiness. So we have the underlying themes. The themes. So love versus duty, or the importance of sons and the woman's role. So, the importance of sons. This story explores the societal pressure on men to have sons, particularly in cultures with strong patriarchal traditions. Love versus duty. Awiyaw's decision reflects the conflict between personal desires and societal expectations. Woman's rule. The story subtly highlights the limitation placed on women within this cultural context. Lumnay seems to have no say in the decision and suffers the consequences. So the importance of sons, it delves into the societal pressure on men to have sons, reflecting the strong patriarchal tradition within the culture. Love versus duty. The story explores the tension between personal desire and societal obligations, highlighting Awiyaw's struggle between his love for Lumnay and his duty to fulfill cultural expectations. Sa the last one, the woman's rule. The narrative solely critiques the limitations placed on women as seen through Lumnay's lack of agency in the face of cultural demands. So anyone in the class, I want a volunteer to answer this one. How does the story explore the tension between individual desires and communal obligations within the context of Filipino culture? Anyone in the class? Yes, Miss Monica. How does the setting of the story, particularly the rural Cordillera Mountains, contribute to the overall themes and mood of the narrative? Anyone? Yes, Mr. Janelito. Alright, yes, that's correct. Now let's continue to the written activity. So this is 1 to 5 activity. So the instruction here is read each question carefully and select the correct answer from the options provided. Okay, number 1. What is the setting of Amador Daggio short story The Wedding Dance? A. A bustling city. B. A remote mountain village. C. A coastal fishing village. Or D. A suburban neighborhood. Next, who are the main characters in The Wedding Dance? Awiyaw and Madulimay, Lumnay and Blas, Awiyaw and Lumnay, or D. Madulimay and Blas. Third question, what is the central conflict in the story? A. Awiyaw's desire to marry another woman. B. Lumnay's longing for a child. C. Awiyaw's reluctance to dance at the wedding. D. Lumnay's refusal to attend the wedding dance ceremony. Fourth question. What is the significance of the ceremonial dance in the story? A. It symbolizes the unity of the community. B. It marks the beginning of the harvest season. C. It represents the couple's commitment to each other. Or D. It signals the end of a mourning period. Last question. Why does Awiyaw visit Lumnay before his wedding? A. To apologize for his past actions. B. To invite her to the wedding ceremony. C. To ask her for her blessing and farewell. Or D. To seek her advice on marriage. I'll give you 10 minutes to answer. Alright. Now, who can summarize or the important key to the story, The Wedding Dance? Yes, Miss Lorea. That's right. Okay. The Wedding Dance by Amador Daggio is a poignant short story set in a remote mountain village in the Cordillera region of the Philippines. The story revolves around Awiyaw and Lumnay, a married couple deeply in love but facing the harsh reality of their situation due to cultural traditions. Awiyaw, who desperately wants a son to carry on his name, is forced by societal pressure to leave his beloved wife Lumnay, who has been able to bear children during their 7 years of marriage. To fulfill his cultural duty, Awiyaw marries another woman in the hope of having son. On the night of Awiyaw's wedding to his new wife, he visits Lumnay in their old home to invite her to join the traditional wedding dance, a symbol of unity and community. But Lumnay, a heartbroken and devastated, refuses to participate. She expresses her anguish and sorrow, questioning the fairness of their customs that forced them apart despite their love for each other. The story highlights the tension between the personal desires and societal expectations, with the wedding dance serving as a painful reminder of what Lumnay has lost. It underscores themes of sacrifice, the cultural norms, and the enduring power of love amidst adversity. The narrative leaves readers with a profound sense of sadness and contemplation about the impact of cultural traditions on individual happiness. That's what the story about. It is about the societal pressure of the man of having a son, of having a children to carry on their names. Next, we have the application. So, the students will find a partner to reflect on the themes and lessons learned from the story, as well as its relevance to their own lives and society. Then discuss it to their partner as well, share their thoughts to the class. I will choose 3 groups or 3 pairs to elaborate their discussion to the class. Next, the evaluation. The students will be grouped into three, assign specific character rules to each participant within the groups based on their assigned group. Encourage participants to embody their characters authentically and stay true to the story's cultural context. Also demonstrate the themes and symbolism of the wedding dance. Conclude with a reflection session involving all participants in discussing insights gained and the cultural significance of the story. So please refer these criteria for your for the judging of your role playing. After that, I have here the assignment. Examine the significance of the wedding dance ceremony in Amador Daguio's The Wedding Dance. Here's the question. How does the ceremonial dance symbolize the complexities of love, tradition, and societal expectations within the context of Filipino culture? After that, make a short story of your own related to Philippine culture. It is either encoded or write it on a long bond paper. Thank you for listening, and that's all of my part of the Philippine literature of the short story The Wedding Dance.